We are learning more about the Toronto woman killed after a plane crashed moments after taking off in India today.
And a Vaughan man who fired a gun to stop thieves from stealing his car is facing charges.
And Kendrick Lamar is in the Six tonight to perform for the first time since his feud with Drake began. We will check in with fans coming up.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
And I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. More than 240 people have been killed. This is in a plane crash in India, and we're learning about the sole Canadian on board who was a Toronto woman.
Yeah, she's been identified by her family as Nirali Patel of Toronto. She's a dentist who has a practice in Mississauga.
Right now, let's go live to CP24's Andrew Brennan, who joins us from the newsroom following the very latest in this story for us. Andrew, there's been a lot of reaction coming in because, you know, this is someone who is from this area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's local reaction, Bakari. We've heard from the Prime Minister talking about how he was devastated to learn this, and learning that there was a Canadian on board, making that statement before we knew that Dr. Patel was among those on this Air India flight. We've also heard from the Premier, Doug Ford, offering his condolences to the family. And not long ago, we also heard from some of Patel's close family, or I should say close friends. You can see her on the screen right now. This is a photo with her husband. Now, according to the Canadian press, they both were dentists. He was reached earlier on today. And our colleagues at CTV News at the home of the couple were able to speak with neighbors to confirm that they had a one-year-old son. That son, as well as her husband and brother, according to a family friend speaking with Sean Leathong, are on their way to India now. This is more of that interview.
I spoke to brother very briefly this morning while we were trying to help and arrange their travel arrangement going back, and how they were also trying to confirm that with our common friends in between. He was also in very shock, so they were not able to talk much. Same thing with her husband. I haven't spoke to her husband, but I heard that he's also in very shock, and they are all on their way. Right now, as we speak, all 5 people are at the airport flying to India.
You can see right now on your screen, for viewers at home, the last seconds of the flight as recorded from the ground. You can see as right now it's starting to descend, and it was around here that you could start seeing the aircraft listing slightly. And then we are not going to show the moment of impact, but the devastation that was caused, not just in the for the families, but just in terms of the actual impact and overall violence of this crash. There's a mangled mess left on the ground, and many questions for families that are trying to figure out what happened here. Now, Bakari and Lindsay, just a quick piece of information about Dr. Patel. We looked at her biography from her dental practice's website. Once a year, she would offer free checkups for those in the community that couldn't afford dentistry. She also said, according to her biography, that she chose to become a dentist to be able to see the tangible ways that she could help people, and the way that she could help brought a smile to her face and brightened her day. Patel leaves behind a one-year-old son. Back to you both.
It's such a tragedy, Andrew. And I mean, looking at that video, I think there's also so many questions in terms of what we know so far about what might have happened. And obviously, investigation in its early stages. But what do we know?
Well, there's a lot that, as you said, is incredibly unclear right now. And also, I try to say this for people at home because I think it's really important. You know, when we were talking earlier on in the day, there was officials saying that everyone on board had died. And then miraculously, we discovered that one sole occupant of the plane, one passenger, was jettisoned by force and miraculously survived. We do not know a lot about what led to this this aircraft, which was slowly on its continuing its takeoff, but then you see that it stops and descends. A lot of those questions are unclear right now. But I guess the point I was trying to make there is at the beginning of tragedies like this, there's a lot of information that's put out there that's unverified, and our job is to make sure as best we can, especially when people die, that we provide the most factual information and most immediate information we can. Back to you both.
And joining us live from the newsroom, Andrew, thank you very much. So you heard Andrew mention a little bit about the investigation. For a closer look at the investigation into what caused the plane crash, we're now joined live by Robert Kokonis, president of AirTrav and an aviation analyst. Thank you very much for taking time to speak with us. First off, talking about this aircraft, this is a Boeing 787. This is a Dreamliner. It's a relatively new and, for the most part, safe aircraft. A lot of people on a lot of aviation blogs, they're saying that, hey, I'm going to avoid these for a while when there are mechanical, issues. What can you tell us about this aircraft? So, Robert, if you can hear us, we'll try coming back to you in a little bit once we fix those audio issues. Right now, it's 5:06. Let's get a check on the roads with CP24 traffic specialist Adra Yabwa. Adj.
Bakari, watching problems now popping up if you're headed on the Toronto-bound lanes of the QEW, just as you make your way past Burloak. It is a collision, does have the left lane blocked. Another vehicle was involved and is off to the side. But if you're making your way through this area, already quickly slowing down the drive from well before Appleby line. And then up on the 401, it's problems to deal with as well. Eastbound 401 in the collectors, just on the approach to the DVP or past Leslie. It's the right lane that is blocked, and that is following an ongoing stall. And a bit of good news, problems cleared, and I'll tell you about them because my camera went out. Westbound on the 401, right around the 407. We had a collision. It was in the right lane. It cleared. Problems continue, though, on the Gardner westbound, just as you make your way past Strawn. Crews on scene of a collision blocking the two center lanes. I'll send it back to you.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
A man has been charged in a hit and run that left a woman dead in Scarborough.
Yeah, the 32-year-old woman was crossing Shepherd near Pharmacy the night of May 16th when she was hit by a sedan. The driver kept going. The woman died at the scene. The vehicle believed to be involved was found by police the same night. So investigators say a man surrendered to police today. 24-year-old Arman Hakobian is charged with leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death and driving without insurance.
And a Vaughan man is among 5 people who have been charged after an attempted car theft overnight in Vaughan.
Okay, for more on this, we're going to bring in CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan to talk about this. Okay, first off, Steve, let's go over the basics.
Police tell us that 4 o'clock this morning, multiple suspects were trying to break into several homes and cars up in Vaughan near the 400 and Major Mac. At some point, one of the occupants of one of the homes came out of his house, saw that multiple suspects were trying to steal his Lamborghini, or a Lamborghini that was in his driveway, and as a result, he fired a shot, which appears to have been a warning shot. There's no attempted murder charges, but there was a discharging of a firearm. So the police arrived on scene, arrested the suspects for the attempted thefts and B&Es, and they arrested and charged this Vaughan man as well with very serious weapons offenses.
When is that I'll use the word acceptable to do, right? You obviously want to protect your home and protect yourself in certain situations.
Right.
But, I mean, you could also be facing charges after a situation like this as well, even if you are the victim.
Yeah, the law is clear in when you can use lethal force, and that is when you are presented with imminent bodily harm or death to you or to somebody else. You can do whatever you need to do to survive. But when it comes to protecting property, hard to establish imminent threat of bodily harm to you or somebody else if somebody's taking your car, if there's nobody in it. Mm-hmm. And even if you discharge a firearm in the air as a warning shot, it's still discharging of a firearm in public, and this is where the criminal offenses could be laid.
Okay, Steve, let's talk about these suspects. We're talking about 3 adults and a youth.
Yes, Laura, and there are still suspects outstanding. So there was a group of them, undoubtedly, according to police, that were going house to house, trying to break into the homes, trying to get cars that were in the driveways. it doesn't justify discharging a firearm in public to frighten people, if you will, a warning shot to get them away from your vehicle. This was a Lamborghini, high-end car, but it doesn't matter when it comes to the value of property. Property is property, and when it comes to lethal force, it can only be imminent threat of serious bodily harm or death to you or somebody else. The law is clear when it comes to that.
It's been a heavy week in Vaughan. There's been a lot of incidents and crime happening in that area. I wonder what investigators are going to be looking at next.
Well, they're going to see if these suspects that are now accused, are they responsible for other break-in enters in the area? I've got many messages on Twitter today after the story came up from people living up there who have said that this is going on in our area all the time. York police have been up there constantly, so now they'll connect outstanding break-in enters to these suspects. This man who's been charged with these weapons offenses, it's a complete different issue altogether, but that too is a criminal investigation that will be ongoing.
Okay, a lot more to this discussion. We're going to have to continue that later, but right now, CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan. Steve, thanks a lot.
Sure. Steve.
Okay, with that, it is now 5:10, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, we'll have the latest on the investigation to today's deadly plane crash in India. Stay with us.
Okay, going back to our top story, looking closer into the investigation and what caused the deadly plane crash in India, the Air India flight. We're now joined live by Robert Kokonis, president of AirTrav and an aviation analyst. Robert, thanks a lot for joining us. Let's go back to talking about this investigation. This was a 787, a Boeing. These are relatively new aircraft. Let's talk about the safety record and how sort of, out of place this is.
Yeah, this aircraft particularly was 11 years old. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner first came into service around 2013. If you kind of recall, 12 years ago, there were some issues with the battery packs on those airplanes, and there were some fires that redesigned the batteries and how they're handling. But ever since then, it's been fine. In fact, this is the first crash of a 787 that was airborne. So this is actually quite incredible. So that's why it's doubly important to get the facts and see the data.
When you're looking at this video, we're of course showing it right now to our viewers, once again, not showing the moment of impact, but you can see the plane obviously taking off, and then it starts to lose elevation. It almost looks as though it's potentially trying to land again. What do you make of as you say, like the investigation's still ongoing, but what do you make of what you're actually seeing here in this video?
I mean, just as a caution to viewers and listeners, and I've covered a lot of air crashes and incidents, that typically the average incident or crash is the culmination of a cascading series of issues that culminate in that final event, the crash. So there's a lot to still go over. Looking at that, I mean, there's been a number of theories. One is loss of power to both engines, which would be extremely rare. There could be compressor failure of an engine. One engine alone, though, is enough to safely take off. To have both of them fail, somebody pointed out to a bird strike. If you remember the miracle on the Hudson when a captain at U.S. Airways landed, a flight took off from New York LaGuardia Airport. Canada geese flock, both engines failed, landed the aircraft in the river. And although this airport in India, Ahmedabad, is known to have a lot of birds, to have a twin strike like that, I think it's hard to believe. Other issues, somebody's talked about the flaps. If the flaps are not set in a certain way, you don't have enough lift for takeoff. But the 787 is designed so that if the pilots start a takeoff roll without the flaps in the right configuration, there will be a warning signal. The only other thing I can think of is either fuel starvation from a blockage in the fuel system or fuel contamination. At airports, we rigorously check the quality and standards of fuel every day to make sure there isn't water in the system. But again, once we get the data from the voice box and also from the data from the black box with data, that's going to help us understand a bit better, as well as the account from the one sole survivor, a British national.
Okay, Robert Kokonis, that's all the time we have. You're president of AirTrav and aviation analyst. Really appreciate your time and getting your analysis on this. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right now it's 5:15, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And we are live outside the Rogers Centre, where fans are gathering for the first of 2 Kendrick Lamar shows in Toronto amid his ongoing feud with Drake. We've got a live look for you right here. We will check in on that story when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Rapper Kendrick Lamar is set to perform in Toronto tonight for the first time since his feud with Drake began.
Okay, so some Drake fans, they are planning to show their support for the hometown favorite. And for this, let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman, who's outside of the Broader Center. Beatrice.
Bakari, Lindsay, it's going to be a great show tonight. Kendrick Lamar, one of the biggest rappers in the world, here tonight at the Dome, and tomorrow, along with SZA. I mean, the fans already lining up to go into the stadium to enjoy the show. As you mentioned, it's the first time Kendrick Lamar has been here in the 6 in Drake's home city since this beef all started about a year ago. And a lot of the fans I've been talking to, yeah, they think the diss tracks will be plentiful tonight. Listen.
I definitely think something's going to happen tonight, especially with all the news around. Something's probably going to happen. I don't know what or who's going to come out, but I feel like someone will. I feel like it can't be a normal Toronto show. You know what I mean?
I think there's going to be a surprise guest.
Yeah.
By something happening.
Yeah.
Do you think Drake's going to be there?
I thought so, but I feel like it might not make sense. But if it does, and I feel like then it means like the beef is definitely like 100% staged.
I'm excited to see how many songs he might perform targeting Drake or like against him, because you know, Not Like Us, that's a big song. So let's see what happens.
So you think he's playing the diss tracks?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And the fans have come from all over the world, Bakari and Lindsay. They're not just Toronto. I met people from Oshawa, from Ottawa, from Edmonton, and the beautiful Rochester, New York, right? This is Denise and Janice. Tell me what compelled you ladies to come down to this side of the border to see Kendrick and SZA.
It's the music, the show, the beautifulness of Toronto. Just coming here to listen to some good music, good vibes.
Yeah, you guys came in for a quick trip to enjoy the show?
Close to Rochester, New York, so it's like, let's go. Kendrick, SZA, on point.
What about the beef? I mean, this is the first time Drake's here in, you know, a city that, it's the first time Kendrick's here in a city that Drake kind of helped put on the map musically. What do you think of the beef? Is it quashed? Is it ongoing? Is it going to be prevalent tonight?
It's going to be prevalent, but that's okay, because Kendrick's going to kill it. Tonight is in. This is it. I mean, if you can come perform in his own enemy city, hey, what can you say? And they allowed him to come here too? Hey, Kendrick is the bomb, so it is what it is. Drake will be all right.
He'll be all right. What do you think of the beef, Denise?
Now, you know, I'm going to do beefs. I just want the beef, whatever it is, to squash. It's all about the music and the people. You're here to entertain the people, and your music is good. That's all that matters. Drake knows he's sitting back. I'm gonna drop the mic on that one, because the music is what counts. And that's it.
Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the show and welcome to our city. Thank you so much. As for Drake fans, I mean, they're going to be here soon too, Bakari and Lindsay, around 5:30. We're hearing that some Drake fans, diehard fans, will be here as part of the OVO takeover. They say want this to be a peaceful, no drama event, just showing support for the local boy Drake, as you know, the man that he's been beefing with for a while is here in town. They'll be giving away hoodies here. About 600 hoodies. We're hearing Drake hoodies at a Kendrick Lamar concert. That's going to be interesting for sure this evening, but it's set to be a great, great show.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. That's CP24's Beatrice Vaisman reporting live for us. Thanks, B.
Well, the countdown to World Cup kickoff. It's on with 1 year to go until the tournament takes over Toronto.
CP24's CJ joins us live now from Nathan Phillips Square for more on a special unveiling. We saw this in Niagara yesterday, today in Toronto. CJ.
That's right, Lindsay and Bakari. We're going to see the unveiling of the countdown clock, because it is just 1 year left to go until the official countdown of the FIFA World Cup on Canadian soil. And June 12th is always going to be known as Soccer Day here in the city. The official proclamation came today, and I'm here at Nathan Phillips Square, where it is a celebration of the global sport to count down until FIFA World Cup. We have kids playing on the pitch. There's going to be special appearances from Toronto FC. And in about 15 minutes or so, we're going to hear from the mayor as well as officials from FIFA World Cup. And people here right now are lined up to get some free merchandise for FIFA World Cup. We have Eduardo along with his family. So just 1 more year to go until FIFA World Cup. How excited are you?
Oh, we're very excited, especially that we can come to watch in Canada and supporting 2 teams, Ecuador and Canada.
Yeah, 2 different teams, we can tell. You have the Ecuadorian hat, the Canadian flag. How special is it that you can support both your teams on Canadian soil and your team back home right here in Toronto?
Well, it makes it very special for me because, you know, soccer is a big team for us, and Canada is my home now too, so super amazing.
And we don't know how much tickets are, but how much would you pay for a ticket?
Well, this is my first World Cup, so I don't mind like 500,000. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely worth it. Well, thanks so much, Eduardo. But the celebration's just beginning today. A few other things to look for as well is the countdown until the World Cup. And check that out. We have a guy in the stilt there. So we'll send it back to you now. Hey.
All right.
Yeah, lots of people celebrating. And we'll send it back to you.
All right, CP24, Sija Liu, live from Nathan Phillips Square. Thanks a lot, Sija. It's 5:24, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, we will tell you why students at a Toronto high school rallied in support of their former principal today.
And students at Rosedale Heights School of the Arts rallied in support of their former principal today.
Barry Sketchley, who is in his 80s, has been at Rosedale Heights for more than 3 decades. And this week, parents and students learned that the TDSB is transferring him to a different school after this year. Students organized a walkout this morning to protest the decision.
I think the message is clear, is that Rosedale stands with Mr. Sketchley. We believe that Mr. Sketchley is the best person to lead this school, and that this board policy doesn't support students. It goes against what Rosedale stands for, what students believe in.
I was honestly heartbroken. I think it's such a disrespectful way to take someone who's been such an impact on our community out of our school. And there's a lack of consideration for what this community stands for.
He's just a key part to our school. He's what brings the community together. And we feel that if you take that essential part away, then you're taking a part of us away that makes us stay connected.
I think a lot of people were just thinking that it was very last minute to just get rid of a person that's kind of fought for the arts for so long. And it really just kind of gives a signal that the TDSB wants to get rid of art schools, because it's like they want to get rid of someone that's fought for art so much, and they've been wanting to get rid of him for a long time, and this is their way around it.
The TDSB released a statement. It reads, quote, Principal Barry Sketchley will transfer to principal at Harbert CI, where he'll be an outstanding addition to the school following the departure of their principal. Mr. Sketchley will always be a part of the RHSA community, and I sincerely thank him for his outstanding efforts and to serve the students. And we believe this change is going to be a positive one for Rosedale Heights and Harbert.
It's 5:28 now, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
A Toronto mother and dentist is among the more than 200 people killed in a plane crash in India today. We'll have the latest in the investigation into the cause. We're learning more about the Toronto woman killed after a plane crash moments after taking off in India today.
And a Vaughan man who fired a gun to stop thieves from stealing his car is facing charges.
And Toronto's unveiling a countdown clock to the World Cup. Kickoff this hour.
Plus, Kendrick Lamar is in the 6 tonight to perform for the first time since his feud with Drake began. And this is a live look. Drake fans are also congregating there. We've got more details coming up.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lindsay Biscaya. Welcome to Live at 5. More than 240 people have been killed in a plane crash in India, and we are learning the sole Canadian on board was a Toronto woman.
She's been identified by her family as Nirali Patel of Toronto. She's a dentist who has a practice at Mississauga.
We're going to go live now to CP24's Andrew Brennan in our newsroom, who has been following this story and the updates that we're getting throughout the day. Andrew, just such a tragedy.
Yeah, it's always a tragedy when any loss of life happens, period. And it becomes even more tragic, at least in terms of the ripple effects, when it's affecting people in your city, in your community. And that's something that's happening for many people that knew Nirali Patel. We should put her photo back on the screen as this young dentist who leaves behind not just a husband, but a 1-year-old son is being mourned by friends and family. We are told that her brother, her husband, and her infant son, as well as other members of her family, are heading to India, to the crash site. And, well, the grief they must be feeling is impossible to calculate. We heard from a family friend earlier on this afternoon, speaking with our colleagues at CTV, Sean Leathong, conducting an interview with this man, talking about right now what they're trying to do to stay strong for Mrs. Patel's family.
It's absolutely shocking. There's no words in this grievance. At least we can try to say to the friends and other people that we will respect the family's values and family's tragic thing in that one. We'll try to give them strength whichever way we can. Sometimes words might not help them, but moral support or just showing and strength and being there with them, that gives them so much strength.
This is video that was taken from the ground, and you can see, just as I'm talking right now, you'll start seeing the plane hit its apex in the sky, only about 650 feet off the ground, and slowly descending back to terra firma. We will not show you the moment of impact and the flames and smoke, the mushroom cloud that hit the sky. This is the aftermath. You can see just a chaotic scene there. And as night fell, there was even images showing just the mangled mess on the ground left. We should mention even it wasn't just the people on board who lost their lives. There were 5 medical students that were killed on the ground from falling debris. The investigation does continue. There are, of course, so many questions that family members, as well as people that are looking to fly on a Dreamliner 787 like this aircraft, are looking to get answers to. That being said, right now, in terms of the impact here in Toronto and the GTA, with a dentist who worked in Mississauga, who lived in northern Etobicoke, whose family is mourning right now. I just was looking at her biography, Lindsay Bakari, among the things to remember about Nirali Patel. Someone who a lot of times people become statistics in stories like this. She liked to read. She was a painter. She loved to hike. And she loved to spend time with her family, her husband seen there in that photo, and leaving behind a 1-year-old son.
Okay, so Andrew, we did get reaction from Prime Minister Carney as well as Premier Ford. Aside from that, what else can you share with us in terms of, what people in the community have been saying and sharing?
Well, the community, first of all, I want to just go a little bit closer or going even further inward, thinking about the community and thinking about her family first, because what tends to happen in stories like this, when there's a local connection, there's wanting to verify details, what quickly ends up happening is this deluge of reporters looking to contact family members. The husband in this case was contacted by the Canadian press confirming that his wife had passed away. And that was in the morning. And then since then, what's ended up happening is neighbors did confirm to us where she lived, and that also that her husband had left the house and was looking to head to India with their son. But I wanted to just really quickly focus on what ends up happening immediately after tragedies like this. The news breaks that ultimately, right now, a family is mourning, and we are trying to get details as best we can without intruding on what is as much public as it is, a very private grief that there are truly no words to be able to convey.
Absolutely. Okay, CP24's Andrew Brennan reporting live for us. Andrew, thanks for that. Meanwhile, the CEO of Air India has posted a message shortly after the crash.
Flight AI-171 was carrying 230 passengers and 12 crew members on board. Of the passengers, 169 are Indian nationals, 53 are British nationals, there are 7 Portuguese nationals, and 1 Canadian national.
Prime Minister Mark Carney posted that he's devastated to learn about the crash. He goes on to say, quote, "My thoughts are with the loved ones of everyone on board. Canada's transportation officials are in close contact with counterparts and I am receiving regular updates as the response to this tragedy unfolds.
And a post on social media from Premier Doug Ford also reads, I'm saddened to learn that a Canadian from Mississauga was among those lost in the tragic Air India crash near Ahmedabad. On behalf of the people of Ontario, I extend my deepest condolences to the families and loved ones of every victim. We are keeping you in our thoughts during this difficult time.
It's 5:37, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
A tenant is among 5 people who have been charged after an attempted car theft overnight in Vaughan. We're going to talk to CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, after the break about that.
So many times, like I'm alone in the house and I have 3 older, like my twin, they are twins. They're 4 years old and my other daughter 5. I'm like scared sometimes because we don't know, like so many times police came. It's not just the first time. This is, I would say, like 3rd time police came.
I think it's crazy, like, you know what I mean? But
sorry.
Yeah, I was like again. So it was just like it was bad. But I was sleeping. I couldn't even tell. So it was just like the fact that it happened again. It's just like we just got to take better precautions. Like as a as a neighborhood, just to like where you putting your stuff. You know what you're showcasing out there. You can't just like put everything out there hoping that, you know what I'm saying, people are just gonna like leave it alone and stuff, because at the end of the day, people are trying to get what they're trying to get.
Defending yourself is entirely based on what's proportional and what's reasonable. In a case like this, it has been determined that a firearm was not the appropriate one. Now, these charges, obviously, we have laid for discharging the firearm as well as for possession of weapons for dangerous purpose. But proportionality and reasonability is entirely determined by the courts. Every case is distinct and different. And the biggest thing we want to hammer home is that there's always a very considerable danger to other people that are around. A car can be replaced, but a human life cannot.
A Vaughan man is among 5 people who have been charged after an attempted car theft overnight in Vaughan. So we're going to bring in CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan in studio for a closer look at this story. So first of all, just for viewers who are maybe just joining us, Steve, what exactly happened here?
So according to York Regional Police, about 4 o'clock this morning, multiple suspects in a neighborhood up near the Highway 400 and Major Mackenzie were attempting to break into homes and steal vehicles. At some point in time, an occupant of one of the homes came out and he had a gun. Sounds like it was a long gun, and it appears as though he fired a warning shot in the air, which is a criminal offense. It's weapons dangerous. That response is not, as the officer said there, it's not proportionate to the theft of a vehicle. So as a result, police attended, those suspects were arrested, and the homeowner, or the guy that fired the gun, was arrested as well and facing multiple weapons charges.
All right, so Steve, bear with me here. I mean, what is this guy supposed to do? Call 911? And, you know, there have been a lot of auto thefts in this area. Wait until tomorrow, until police show up. His car's already gone. Maybe they could have done something more. Then now this guy's out of a car. He has to pay more for insurance. He has to buy a new car as well.
All valid arguments, but that doesn't justify using a firearm. So the law is quite clear when it comes to using lethal force. Imminent threat of bodily harm or death. Imminent threat of bodily harm or death to you or somebody around you. Then you can use whatever force you deem necessary. Theft of a vehicle is a property crime. And certainly not minimizing a property crime, but the laws are quite different. And you can defend your property, but as the officer said, it has to be proportionate to what's taking place. So somebody's stealing your car, you can try to stop them by all means. A firearm is crossing the line when it comes to stopping somebody from stealing a car, despite the fact that it was a Lamborghini. Property is still property regardless of the value.
I mean, that's such a good point, right? Because we're seeing so many more home invasions in the GTA right now. People are probably listening to this story being like, well, what would I do in that situation? You mentioned a warning shot. If that was the case here, how is that? Is that different? Is that better than actually attempting to shoot somebody?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And the answer is no, it's still a criminal offense. The only saving grace would be that you're not charged with attempted murder because you're not shooting at somebody. But discharging a weapon in the general public is weapons dangerous. That's a criminal charge. Weapons dangerous to the public. Discharging a firearm, it doesn't justify using that type of force when it comes to a car being stolen from the driveway, if there's no imminent threat to yourself or to somebody else with regards to bodily harm or death.
And the alleged suspects, 3 adults and 1 minor.
Yeah, and those suspects accused now because they have been arrested, they'll be investigated for multiple break-in enters that have been going up in that area. But this homeowner is now facing their own charge, and now they've got their own criminal charge difficulties, if you will, when it comes to having to pay for a lawyer now to defend themselves because what they did cross that line when it comes to what type of force you chose to use.
Interesting stuff. Steve, thanks so much for that. It's our crime analyst, Steve Ryan, joining us live in studio. It's 5:44 right now, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
And we're live outside of the Rogers Center, where fans are gathering for the first of 2 Kendrick Lamar shows in Toronto amid his beef with Drake. Okay, let's get a check on the traffic commute with CP24's traffic specialist, Adjua Nsiaya-Bois. Hey, Adj.
Hey, Bakari. You know, it has been quite the busy afternoon. I'm calling it a rough and tumble drive because we had problems and delays and just creating all sorts of situations for commuters just trying to get home. So we'll start with problems that I've been watching for a bit. This is the Toronto-bound lanes of the QEW just on the approach to Bronte or past Burloak. HOV and left lane still out following this crash. The delays actually extend from Guelph line, and that's why there's a backlog. Niagara-bound QEW also really busy through as you make your way through Oakville and Burlington, but at least no live lane issues. We were dealing with some problems. They were happening on the eastbound 401 in the collectors approaching the DVP. Was a stall, was in the right lane. Everything there did clear, but the delays remain on the 401. Outside of camera view on the northbound lanes of the 427, right at the 401, crews dealing with a collision that does have the right lane blocked. I'll send it back to you both.
Okay, thanks, Adjua.
You're welcome.
Rapper Kendrick Lamar is set to perform in Toronto tonight for the first time since his feud with Drake began, and some Drake fans are planning to show their support for their hometown favorite.
Yeah, outside of the Rogers Center, that's where we find CP24's Beatrice Vaisman joining us live. Beatrice.
Bakari, Lindsay, these fans tell me this is all about the music. This is about celebrating Kendrick Lamar and SZA's music. In the first of 2 shows tonight, fans, you might notice behind me, they're starting to enter the dome here to start to, I guess, make their way inside to their seats. And again, there's quite the show slated to happen here tonight. As you mentioned, it's the first time Kendrick is in town after this Drake started and really started to ramp up. And I mean, there's been a lot of accusations. There's obviously a lawsuit launched by Drake towards his label, Universal Music, the label that actually represents both artists. And in this lawsuit, he essentially accuses Universal Music for supporting Kendrick Lamar's lyrics in the diss track, Not Like Us, lyrics that suggest pedophilia, that Drake has suggested spurred violence in a shooting outside of his home last May. But the fans that I've been talking to here, and by the way, many of them are both Kendrick and Drake fans, say this is really about the music. They are expecting this feud, though, to trickle into the show, and they're looking forward to seeing what Kendrick Lamar does on stage tonight. Here's some fan reaction.
I think he's going to be a little bit more motivated. He's going to make sure he shows out. I think he's going to make sure he shows Drake, like, I came to your city and I'm going to make sure I put on type thing. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see his vibe.
I think it's like he's trying to step on Drake, coming to the city and throwing a big concert. So, and he took SZA, which was one of Drake's friends. So that's it.
I feel like, there's going to be a little bit more tension. He might actually throw out a jab, live, which would be exciting to see. But yeah.
The diss tracks are going to be played tonight.
Oh, for sure. I'm looking forward to them. I can't lie.
There's no question he's going to be playing Not Like Us tonight. I mean, it was kind of the hit single. It's a smash hit. He played it at the Super Bowl. And the Drake fans are also expected to be out here a little bit later on this evening. Bakari and Lindsay, there's kind of an OVO takeover that was posted to social media. Some Drake fans will be out here handing out OVO sweatshirts. They've said no drama, keep the peace. This is not a protest, but it's a way to show support, they say, for the local hometown boy. By the way, tickets are still available. It's not sold out. You can get a ticket to be inside and watch the show for under $200 at this point. Can't get much for $200 when it comes to entertainment these days, right?
Okay, reporting live, CP24's Beatrice Vaisman. Beatrice, thank you. And for a closer look at the feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, we're now joined live by Stacey Lee Kong, founder and editor of Friday Things. Stacey, thanks so much for joining us. Okay, listen, bear with me. I have to ask, okay, is this beef legit? Because sometimes they could be friends behind the scenes. This happens a lot.
I don't think that Kendrick and Drake are friends. I don't think so. That is the most diplomatic way I can think of saying that. I think that this beef is a real one. Yes.
Okay, so now that we've settled that, I mean, Bakari definitely tried to look on the brighter side of things. What do you make?
Nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah. What do you make of what's happening tonight, right? Like all these Drake fans coming out trying to congregate, saying that this is going to be peaceful. What do you think about what's happening?
I don't think it's unexpected. I think it's like really important to understand that this is kind of how fandom works. Like the way that people show their support of their favorite musician or their favorite whatever is to not just buy things, but often it is to physically show up. And so that to me seems pretty normal. And I think it's kind of funny to see the way that we get so invested in this thing that, okay, I do think it's a real beef, but I also think so much of what is enjoyable about the beef is the athleticism and the competition and those kinds of things. So it's not surprising to me that people want to show up and want to say, hey, like this is our hometown hero and, you know, we want to support them.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying right there, but really, like, what's the point of them, like, showing up at the concert? Just let the people go to the concert, right?
Agree. Like, I don't think that it needs to be a fight in any way. It definitely shouldn't be a fight in any way. Like, that is what takes a beef from something that is entertaining and fun, which is the point of, like, from a fan perspective, to me, the point of the beef is let's see your best rapping. Let's see your best insults. Let's like have a good time in this very particular way of hip hop. Mm-hmm. So like the showing up is only fun and entertaining if it stays in that realm. You can't be too serious about it.
Right, because I mean, to be serious about it for a moment, like this has gotten very serious in the last couple of months. There've been shootings, people have been injured. So obviously, it's important for everybody to remember that, especially fans who are not involved in this, actually, in this feud.
Right, like we don't know these people in real life. They are not our real friends, I think is maybe the other important message to internalize here.
Okay, so look, we saw this take major platform, you know, Kendrick Lamar performing at the Super Bowl. We just had some of that footage. Mm-hmm. You know, how would you categorize this in, like, you know, the beefs that have happened over all the years? Like, where does this stand?
So I think this is my favorite of the beefs because, to your point, this can go offline, right? Like, in the past, beefs were very violent. And so when I'm talking about like the point of a beef now, I'm talking about a very 2025 understanding of hip hop beef and music beefs in general, and also from the perspective of a culture critic. So I think what's entertaining about this is seeing it happen. So I would say this is my favorite of the beefs because it's like also relatively low stakes, like it should be low stakes. Because in the past it was like quite bad. It could be quite violent.
Of course. All right, Stacey Lee Kong, founder and editor of Friday Things. Got to leave it there. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right, it's 5:54, 24 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, Toronto is unveiling a countdown clock to the World Cup kickoff this hour, and we've got details coming up.
All right, the countdown to World Cup kickoff is on with 1 year to go until the tournament takes over Toronto.
CP24's C. Jalou joins us live from Nathan Phillips Square for more on a special unveiling happening right now.
Hi, Bakari and Lindsay. We are just 1 year away officially from the start of the World Cup kicking off from Canadian soil, and it is a party here at Nathan Phillips Square. We have special speakers, free giveaways, and in about half an hour or so, the official countdown clock will be revealed. But let me show you around what you can explore here at Nathan Phillips Square. This event is happening until about 8 o'clock tonight. So over there, we have some free merchandise that people are giving away. And then that official clock will also be unveiled. Now, Canada will be hosting 6 World Cup matches starting on June 12th. So that is exactly a year from now. Some of the other events happening today, kids will be playing over there at the soccer pitch. Toronto FC players will be making their appearance. And all of this is happening until 8 o'clock tonight. Some special appearances as well, Toronto FC players. But guys, a lot happening here tonight as we do the official kickoff. 1 year to go, June 12th, until the World Cup comes to Toronto. And the city has also proclaimed today as Soccer Day. So June 12th will never be the same again here in Toronto. Back to you guys.
CP24 C. Jalou reporting live from Nathan Phillips Square. This is the second of those countdown clocks that have been unveiled. The other one was at Niagara Falls.
Yeah, that was yesterday. A year away now. Only a year. Can't believe it.
Right now it's 5:59, 24 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Thanks for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.